Hi, I'm Daniel Gold, and welcome to the Gold Standard Leadership Lab. By day, I'm a partner at a leading advisory firm where I draw upon my background as an attorney to help my clients succeed. This podcast, though, is my personal project. It's completely separate and apart from my day job, but reflects the same passion that I exhibit everywhere for teaching, mentoring, and helping others succeed through simple, impactful lessons. It is my hope that you'll walk away with practical takeaways to help you on your leadership journey. Thanks for being a part of this community and for joining me in the Leadership Lab. Let's get started. I want to start today a little differently. I have no framework to talk to you about, no opening provocation designed to stop you mid-scroll, and no research study up front. It's just me, and something I genuinely want to share with you. This is episode 52. That means that we have been doing this together for 1 full year. Every Monday morning at 6 a.m., without exception, something new has landed in your inbox, your podcast app, your feed. 52 weeks, 52 episodes, 1 full year of showing up. And I am not going to pretend that was easy, because the truth is, it hasn't been. You know, I talk about marathon training on this show with some regularity, and I want to come back to it today because it is the most honest comparison that I know. Training for a marathon is not about the race day. The race itself, that's just one morning. What marathon training is actually about is every single day before it. The days when nobody is watching, when your legs are heavy, when your schedule at work is impossible, and the easy choice is, well, just to skip the run. The progress lives in the accumulation of those invisible reps. And you know what? This podcast works the exact same way. See, what you experience on Monday morning at 6 a.m. is the finished product. And what you obviously do not see is everything behind it. It's the reading, the research, all after hours, the dictation at odd hours after work, the drafts that didn't work, the edits, the recording, the re-recording that always seems to happen. And then there's the publishing workflow, the show notes, the social content. Every single week, without exception, for 52 weeks, I've been doing this on the weekends. Now, I'm not saying that to seek recognition. I am saying it because it is the most important leadership lesson that I have learned in a year. And I want to name it directly. Consistency. Consistency is not a personality trait. It is a discipline. It is a choice you make when it is inconvenient, when motivation has run dry, when all you have left is the commitment itself. The neuroscience on this is worth citing, though. Research on long-term behavioral consistency, particularly the work of B.J. Fogg on habit formation, and others talk about the behavioral loop research. And it all shows that sustained output is less about willpower than it is about identity alignment. Because people who maintain demanding commitments over time have not found a secret reserve of discipline. They have built the behavior into who they are. And I built this podcast into my identity from day one. It became non-negotiable. That is the only reason it exists a year later. I want to tell you something interesting also that has happened to me since I have been doing this. Throughout the year, I've attended industry conferences, and because this is the part that means everything to me, I want to get it just right when I tell you this. It wasn't just one moment. It was not just one person. It happened at 3 different industry events that I attended with different people and different conversations, and in every single time, it literally stopped me. There were people who have known me for years, people who watched me go through some of the harder chapters of my career, who came up and said that something I talked about on this show brought them right back to that moment in my career. That they remembered what I was living through at that time, and that hearing me talk about it openly and honestly, without the professional armor on, meant something to them. That it gave them permission to be honest about their own hard chapters. And there were people who told me that an episode landed at exactly the right moment for them. Not because they were looking for it, but because Monday morning at 6 a.m. it showed up. And it said the thing they needed to hear that week. The timing was not a coincidence to them. It felt like something more than that. And then there were the people who told me that they took something specific from an episode and applied it to a real problem that they were facing and that it helped them work through it. Not in a theoretical way. On a Tuesday afternoon, sitting across from someone difficult, I remembered what Daniel said kind of way. And that really means something. Then there was the person who told me that they started journaling because they heard me talk about it, because they decided to try it again, and it changed something for them. I want you to understand what that means to me. I may not actually have the real words for it just yet, but I'm going to try. This show goes out every Monday morning at 6 a.m. That means every Sunday, something has to be ready. Every week, the reps have to be in. Every week, I have to have done the reading, the research, the writing, and the recording over the weekend. And there are weeks that are actually pretty straightforward. But then there are the weeks when life makes it anything but straightforward. And on those weeks you lean on the commitment because the motivation may have run out on Thursday. But what those conversations at those industry conferences told me is that the commitment has been worth it. Every single rep, every Sunday, every 6 a.m. Because somewhere at just the right moment, something I said mattered to someone. It helped them. It moved them. It gave them a tool, a word, or a permission slip, or a practice. I carry an overwhelming amount of gratitude for that. It's not pride. It's gratitude. There is a real difference. Pride says that, oh, look at me, I did something. Gratitude says something was allowed to happen through me. And for that, I'm humbled by it. That gratitude is the reason year 2 exists. That is the only reason I need. Here's what I want you to understand about this entire body of work that I've been doing. 52 episodes is not just a milestone. It is actually a complete map. And over the past several weeks, I have been doing something I am calling pattern archaeology. Basically, I'm going back through every single episode and tracing the through lines, the connections, the themes that emerge, not because I planned them that way, but because they are the real architecture of leadership itself. 7 distinct themes actually run through everything that I have published this year. The first is the systems underneath leadership, how great leaders build infrastructure and discipline before the moment of crisis arrives, not during it. The second is trust and credibility, what it actually takes to earn the right to lead, and why most leaders fundamentally misunderstand that equation. The third is the leadership's relationship with performance. Specifically, how we fall into the trap of optimizing for appearance rather than outcome, and what it costs us when we do. The fourth theme is what I call seeing people. Now, this is your empowerment pillar, and it is where I believe leadership either earns its meaning or it loses it entirely. The fifth is the leader's inner life, self-awareness, silence, vulnerability, and the discipline of knowing yourself well enough to know when you are off course. The sixth is growth under pressure, which is the resilience thread, and which shows up in episode after episode in the form of guardrails, flexibility, small wins, and the neuroscience of recovery. But now I want to talk to you about the final one, the 7th one, and it's the one that I'm actually most proud of. This one ties everything together, and it is legacy and karma. What you are building beyond the quarter, what you are building beyond your role and beyond the title, what you are leaving behind for the people that you have led. Now, those 7 themes did not come from an outline I wrote before episode 1. They emerged from 52 weeks of honest inquiry into what real leadership actually looks like. That is what makes them credible. And that is what makes them worth building on. So now I'd like to talk to you about what comes next. And what comes next is I'm turning this body of work into an ebook. That's right. Not a transcript collection, not a summary document, a real ebook organized as a leadership journey across all 7 of the themes I just discussed, with connective tissue that ties the ideas together, practical frameworks drawn directly from the research and neuroscience woven through every episode, and reflection questions that push you to do the actual work of becoming the leader that you want to be. It's going to be called The Gold Standard, a leadership journey through reinvention, resilience, and empowerment. 7 parts built to take any professional at any level of seniority through the full arc of what real leadership requires. Because, as I've said many, many times before, leadership is not a title. And it is never too late to decide who you are going to become. And here's what I want you to really sit with. This ebook is designed to be shared. That's right, it's not just for you. It's not to be read once and then digitally shelved, if you will. This ebook is for you to share deliberately and to purchase copies for your entire team. Think about the people that you lead right now. Your managers, your senior associates, and your high potential talent who are all figuring out in real time what kind of leaders they want to become. Think about the conversations you want those people having about culture, about accountability, about trust, and what it means to grow. This ebook is a starting point for every one of those conversations. You can put it in front of your entire team and say, here is the standard we are building toward together. It's part storytelling, it's part academic research, part neuroscience, all fused together in the same way every episode of the show has been built. And that's the product. And it'll be available at $9.95, a deliberate choice to make it accessible at scale, so that price is never the reason someone on your team does not have access to these ideas. Now, I want to talk to all of you who have been here from the very start. If you are a founding paid subscriber to the Gold Standard Leadership Lab, I want to speak to you directly. You made a bet on me and on this before it proved itself. You chose to invest in this community early, before the back catalog existed, before any of this had 52 weeks behind it. And that matters to me more than I can adequately express in a podcast episode. And so, as I begin to write this book, you will receive chapters before anyone else, not excerpts, entire chapters. And you will have a genuine opportunity to give me feedback that shapes the final product. And when it is complete, you will receive a full copy at no cost. That is my commitment to you, and I do not take that lightly. Now, if you are not yet a paid subscriber to the Gold Standard Leadership Lab and you have been thinking about it, I'm asking you to consider it now. Paid subscribers will all receive the same chapter-by-chapter access as the book comes together, the opportunity to provide me with real feedback, and a complimentary copy of the finished book, and everything else this community continues to build. The link is in the show notes, and I would genuinely love to have you come over here inside the Gold Standard Leadership Lab. Now, 1 year ago, I made a decision, and that decision was, I'm going to give back. I believed then, and I believe now, that the ideas that I have spent a career accumulating are indeed worth sharing. That real leadership, it is learnable. That it is never too late to grow, that it is never too late to change. It is never too late to decide that the leader that you want to be is the leader you are going to become, and you could do that starting today. 52 episodes later, I know that this was the right decision. Not because of any number, because of the people who have told me, in their own words, that something they heard on a Monday morning changed how they showed up that week. And that is the whole point. And it always has been. So I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, for reading, for watching, and for sharing. Thank you for the conversations and the feedback and the trust you have placed in the work over the past year. Because year 2, well, that starts next Monday. And remember, leadership isn't about perfection. It is about progress. Take this lesson, put it into action, and continue setting the gold standard in your own life and at work. See you all next time.